Imagine a 5-year-old boy.
running around the house, all dressed up in the pirate outfit he made. He's got a wooden sword that he wrapped with foil. A homemade patch hangs down over his eyes, and his tattered jeans complete the ensemble. He runs from room to room, fending off every attacker. But as he runs into the living room, he spies his father, the inventor, sitting in his chair drawing in a pad, as he often does. The boy sneaks up behind him and raises his sword. And staring into the pad, this time, something's different. The gears and pulleys on the pad start burning into the kid's brain. The pulleys could raise the sails on his ship. The gears could raise the drawbridge on his castle. The boy's inspired. The boy wants to draw too. He smiles at his father, sneaks the pad up from underneath his shoulders, plops down on the floor, and begins to draw. Fast forward 20 years. Now the boy become a man, his first week on a real job, his first professional image. The boy's fired up. This is the rendering of a lifetime. He puts everything into his rendering. Just the right view, spotlight shining into the air, all the chrome glistens with little dots of color. The moment has come. He licks the tip of his brush, holds his breath, and begins signing the right-hand corner. His boss, Bill Castle, a 20-year veteran, grabs his hand. We don't sign our renderings here. The ideas you paint are not yours alone. Teams create ideas. The best ideas don't have to be yours. The best ideas don't have to be yours? I was devastated. How can this be true? My entire life, I was taught that the person with the best ideas wins. Like Edison with the light bulb, like Einstein with the theory of relativity. They became our heroes by their inventions. Every class I took, we were evaluated on the strength of our ideas. This turned all that on its head. In 1986, there weren't a lot of jobs out there for a kid who wanted to design roller coasters and theme parks. So I figured I'd better stick around. And as I did, I started to understand the truth behind this philosophy. I noticed that when an aggressive person strong arms his idea through a project, all the team members start backing away. And when the project comes along that comes up with the challenges that it always does, it doesn't have a strong team behind it or the momentum to carry the project through to the end. But when the creation is far more important than the creator, suddenly the people start rallying around the idea. They start cherishing it. So when the project runs into the obstacles, there is a diverse team, there's diverse ideas to push the project through to the end. This does not mean that there's no room for the champion, the person to grab the project and push the idea, wrestle the idea to the end, and be the sole person that cares for it. And this certainly does not mean there's no room for the starry-eyed inventor to stay up late at night, going through his brain, trying to imagine the perfect solutions to the problem. What it does mean is that when an ego grabs hold of a project and does not let it evolve, does not let it change, the potential for failure is high. An idea has to be flexible so that when it comes to problems, it has to change and evolve. We demonstrated this flexibility when we were asked to create a combination roller coaster and cheetah environment for Busch Gardens Tampa. Now, you would think that adding a roller coaster to a theme park is a no-brainer. But Busch Gardens Tampa has some of the best roller coasters on the marketplace. It has roller coasters that sit on the top, roller coasters that hang from the bottom, dive coasters that dive down 90 degrees straight to the ground. We couldn't just take any roller coaster off the shelf and throw it in the park and expect to be successful. Not only that, but Busch Gardens is located right next to Orlando, the theme park capital of the world, where billions of dollars are spent every year. So to make a difference, our coaster had to be iconic. It had to stand out in the environment. It had to show our icon had to be unique to show something that only Busch Gardens Tampa could create. And we had experience creating icons in the past. When a small child looks nose to beak with a penguin in its own environment, that is an icon for St. Louis Zoo. And when you see a family plummeting from the towers of Atlantis as it rises from the sea, that is an icon for SeaWorld. We had to create an icon that was just as powerful for this ride. The engineer for the park, Mark Rose, said, what if this coaster is unique because it clings close to the ground, swinging back and forth between the trees, narrowly missing it, just like a cheetah runs across the valley. And we all embraced the idea. We thought that was a great idea. So we started creating storyboards. We had storyboards of the coaster careening through the trees. We had storyboards of the coaster just narrowly skipping across the water. Storyboards of the coaster careening through the rockwork, barely missing the rocks as they pass. Storyboards of the coaster going through the waterfalls. But even though the storyboards are cool, they really weren't hitting that note that made this ride feel unique. And not only that, but as we talked to the ride manufacturers, they said, who builds a coaster that stays close to the ground and you never see it? Our coaster has to rise into the sky, celebrate itself for all to see. We felt momentum slipping, and we knew we had to be flexible to succeed. So in the next brainstorming meeting, we sat around, and the general manager for the park said, our park is so beautiful. It has these massive expanses of land with the animals running back and forth. What if our coaster rose up to the sky and the guests could peer down? The engineers joined in. They said, not only that, but we could launch our coaster like a cheetah, going 60 miles an hour to the top of the tower, figure 8 at the top. The animal people joined in. They said that would be perfect because a cheetah, being fast and lean, is actually at the bottom of the pecking order. Many other predators actually chase him down, and so he runs up to the top of the highest precipice and stares around to spot his prey so he does not get chased by the other animals. We could be the coaster. Excuse me. The creative director for the park said that would be fabulous. We could have this coaster look like a whole stack of sticks, all rising into the sky with the coaster going around at the top. So we were flexible and started to change and adapt the project. And on the airplane home, I built them a 3D model that turned into this video that showed the initial thoughts about how this coaster could be, rising up to the top, zooming around in a figure 8 until diving down to the ground. This simple idea turned into a sketch that turned into a rendering that we placed in the park and showed how this thing could feel in the park with fire shooting out the top. This idea started building momentum. We showed it to the board. The project was approved to move forward, and more people started adding to the team. We started developing all the pieces, trying to celebrate how a cheetah and a coaster could look like they're running alongside each other, showing what the retail shop could look like, showing what the queue and food areas could look like, showing how the animals and the people could look like they're right next to each other. All these pieces coming together, all the pieces all trying to wrap the whole project around the guest until you felt like you're somewhere where the cheetahs and man all interacted. Now, projects all run into problems, and this one's no different. Once again, when we showed our tower to the ride engineers, they laughed at us. They said, who takes a 6-ton roller coaster and slams it into a tower of sticks? Towers must come directly to the ground. But that look and character was so important to making the icon that we wanted. And so we assembled our engineers from St. Louis, who are used to working with these crazy designers, and the engineers from Germany, who are used to building the rides that come firmly to the ground. And we sat across the table, adding sticks, taking away sticks, extending sticks, so that all these pieces worked together to create this icon. The team worked well, and soon we moved forward again. Momentum continued to grow. And so we kept adding pieces. Opening day was coming, and we started testing the coaster. We actually put guests on the coaster after we put the test dummies on the coaster. Having the guests experience the coaster. We moved the animals into the exhibit so they could see how the animals reacted to the people around them. All these pieces started coming together so that all the pieces of the project were becoming one. Now, typically, when a project opens, we create special, unique artifacts to celebrate opening day. And for this project, we created a snow globe that looked like the tower. And this was one of the primary pieces that we wanted to celebrate for the opening of the park. The head of marketing for the park had an idea. He said, "Jim, you worked on this coaster. Why don't you come on down? What I'd like you to do is sit in the gift shop on opening day, and as the guests buy these snow globes, I'd like you to sit in a chair and sign the bottom of those things." This didn't sound like a good idea, but I signed up for it. So on opening day, I show up. There's not a snow globe in sight. The quick-thinking marketing director had a plan. He said, "Jim, what we're going to do, we're going to put this sign next to you that said, 'Meet Jim Weibel, the designer of Cheetah Hunt.' 25 years of readjusting my philosophy to the thought that people design things together turned upside down that day. Once I was devastated, but I thought to myself, maybe no one will show up. It was the largest opening day in the history of the park. As the guests started coming out, I started signing these postcards for the kids as they came out. And as each kid came out, they said, "You're the designer." And I would stumble, I'm not the designer. And the kids would look at me funny. And I understood why. But as I did, I started to understand what was behind it. I started to realize that these kids wanted a hero to take the idea home, that I met the designer of Cheetah Hunt. And so I started adjusting my story. I started saying, yes, I was one of the people that worked on the team that created the attraction. What do you like to do? Oh, you like animals? You know, a person that loved animals actually helped us design the ride, came up with the idea that you could be like a cheetah, zoom like a cheetah up to the top of the tower, look around and spot your prey, and dive down to the bottom. Oh, you like engineers? You should have seen the engineers when we told them we wanted to build a tower that was made of sticks. Oh, if you like art. We need artists in the world to take ideas, draw the ideas, and show the ideas to people so they can understand how wonderful the idea can be. The best part of the whole day was when the small child came up to me with this placemat that he'd drawn a picture of a coaster, and he explained to me. And I knew that I had made an impact on this kid. Imagine a father driving home in his mint 1974 Ford Capri. He's worked all day with the designers and trying to solve problems of scheduling, marketing, all the characters working together, never getting to take the ideas in his head any further. He drives with the radio off. And as he does, an idea starts burning into his brain. He eats dinner with the family, laughing, having a great time, but that idea keeps titching in his brain. As the dishes are done and the family starts running around the house, he thinks he'll sneak over to his chair and sit down, pull out his pad, and begin drawing. As he does, he feels a breath over his shoulder. As he turns, he sees a 5-year-old pirate raising his patch, peering into his pad. The boy smiles. The man smiles at the boy as the boy steals the pad up from underneath his arms. He sees the boy plop down onto the ground and begin to draw wild worlds and wild rides.